My name is Miss RV, and I'm a 5-time world champion, executive, and professional in the gaming space. And this weekend, I'm joined with my friends. We're gonna coach 2 new faces how to become professional Valorant casters.
Why cast Valorant?
I felt inspired by Valorant Champions Tour.
I fell in love with Valorant is the best way I can put that.
I grew a huge passion in a game.
There's something about the Valorant community that is goofy and silly, and there's a lot to it that's really positive and very inclusive.
So I know the game, why not try to get involved?
For both of you, what makes Valorant unique?
I like that it's a combination of Overwatch and CSGO.
Yes, that's literally what I say.
Valorant is a free-to-play first-person tactical hero shooter developed by Riot Games.
You're one team trying to go to an objective, and then the other team's trying to stop you when you boil it down to the basics. And yes, there's more nuances and everything like that.
And there's always different metas with different agents being added to the game.
So you do have to study the game a lot.
Knowing what the actual language behind casting first-person shooter games.
Our casters know a lot about the game, but it's a caster's job to convey this knowledge and teach the viewers.
Prepping your vocabulary is also big because using the word scale instead of, oh, they're moving up onto the site is so much more concise, clean, and it clues everybody into what's happening with one quick word and allows you to proceed.
If you actually want to get into Valorant, start understanding a little bit how the development into a round plays, what role is super important for what player. Riv, Pop Quiz. I want you to help me define in one sentence each one of these roles that we currently have in Valorant. First one being controller.
All right, if you have a job for the controller, it would obviously be to cut off the map into what sections you want to be able to fight or retake, and the controller should be alive the majority of the round. If you're going down early, you are not playing your position correctly.
They're super important because they can really help cut the other team off in a site. They help control the situation, make it so that way it's easier for your team to take the site or to reclaim it.
Initiator.
Initiator should be secondary to the duelist, very, very close in stride with what those two are doing if the duelist is not on the other side of the map, because your initiation utility is following the duelist in with the chaos they're creating. Everybody then comes in from behind there. So the initiator, usually with the duelist, should be staying alive at the beginning of the map as well.
So you're telling me that a duelist person is the one that's just holding W?
Yeah. I feel like Sentinel is the role that people can somewhat flex to, and they all have their own specific advantages or unique things to do with that role. I don't think too many go out of the box right now. We might see some cool KJ stuff, you might see some cool Sage stuff, but Sentinel's role should be to understand the map quite a bit so you can be nearly the last one alive to make that clutch. Sentinel players, Initiator players, controllers are all ones very much alive to make the clutch at the end of the round.
With just 2 months to get ready, preparation is key to help break through the anxiety and find the stories of interest.
Preparing as a color caster for the past few months, I started to watch all of VCTs and Game Changers and literally any event. Watching some of the matches through Paidia Matchmaking tournament, I did research on each of the players, try to get some stats on the players, what their favorite maps are, their favorite agents are. I ended up talking to a lot of them just so that way I understood why they like Valorant, what got them excited to be here and everything. That way I can help move the story along and go some folks who literally learned Valorant by sitting next to their sibling.
This is my first FPS, and I kind of learned just watching my sister play Valorant.
And then they went, okay, it's my turn now.
Now a 2v2, Raven getting to pick on Astra and Tina. 3K, wow.
Use names when you can. It makes things a lot clearer.
Especially for an organization or a player, instead of saying they, for TSM, TSM, right? It makes it a lot easier for the listener.
Also, one thing that's really important is try to use the word women instead of females.
I actually wanted to ask you, when we get into these type of events, should I call this now the women's tournament? How could I make this a lot more inclusive?
I try to call out the circuits by its name. I try not to give attention to things that really don't matter in gaming, but I try to understand why the circuit exists. So if it's a women tournament, if in the name of the tournament there is the word women, then I would mention it. But a lot of the leagues right now are shying away from using these terms, and they're going with game changers, impact. And that's what's really interesting because it doesn't genderify the tournament. It really focuses on elevating the community to higher standards. One of the most important things for a caster to know is the flow of a round from start to finish.
So you're going into the agent select. The agent select usually over here, it's a discussion between both casters. So the player is gonna be like, okay, let's get into the agent select. So they're leading the conversation. And then they're gonna be like, hey, color commentator, what do you see so far? And Riv, that's usually where you get to pop in. And
Right. A little quicker too, because you want to be able to dish back and forth here. That's not a take it and run with it moment for the analyst. It's like, Sage is going to be difficult if they don't have it here on Icebox and they're still filling out the rest of the team. So we'll see if they have an answer for it. And then he gets to talk again. So you're always back and forth in the agent select.
We get to find out who they're picking.
Yes, yes.
For the last thing for early round, mid round, end round, is those 3 refreshable abilities. So an Omen, Heaven of Smoke, I think every 35 seconds. Recon Dart, 40 seconds. Haunt, every 40 seconds. And then your evolution of your next hit, the re-hit, the cutting noise, where that second point of attack is gonna happen within a round is gonna be based a lot on that initiator play. We looked at the play-by-play having to say things in the present. So based on the screenshot that you currently see right here that's using an updated HUD, what should I be looking at and how should I be describing it?
Play-by-play, you want to call out the buys that they have, their eco, seeing where they're placed at the beginning of or before the barrier.
Since it's supposed to be in present and in action, I would want to focus in not just on the action, but also try to like queue up a little bit in advance by looking at the map.
Just like any attack FPS, usually there's a lot of stuff going on around the map. Your point of interest and the most important point that you want to start talking about here is the attempt to gain map control towards the entrance of the A site here of Ascent, right? And as a play-by-play for me is like, okay, great, we got the 0 point going out right here with 2 or 3 more players from the attack side being Fnatic to try to take control here of A main. But on the other end, the opposition has 2 players getting ready to potentially counteract with this Viper and the Omen being Twist and also Sadak at the A main to try to prevent this push from moving forward.
As an analyst, I'm looking at those purchases, also the way the money could reset following into the next round. You can start to do a little math, which you don't ever say on stream. Just do it in your head. Other than that, until things start happening, I'll leave it up to Vans.
How do you feel now that you have checkpoints of what you could be looking at when you're casting a game?
I feel more comfortable having a bit more of that explanation. It wasn't like an overwhelming amount of knowledge. It was just like taking it all in.
Yeah.
I have more of the idea of like what everyone else is gonna want me to be looking at.
I know this game in and out. I play it every single day. I always want to get better, and I understand it well. I'm grateful that I play the game enough to have map awareness already. So if I can tie that in together while projecting my voice, I'll be good at this.
This is hours and hours of information, right? So it's rightfully so to feel a bit overwhelmed, especially when you're going in. Don't try to use it all at once. Pick something you want to get better at, focus on another one, maybe 2 at a time. But if you try to do everything at once, you're gonna find that none of them really move anywhere.
Out of this moment, our 2 contestants have the tools to become professional casters. It's now in their hands to work their way up there.
It's gonna be a hard road. It's gonna be a tough path. You're gonna face a lot of obstacles. Stay strong, keep working on your own craft, keep working on you to be the best as you could be as a commentator. Congratulations, you've graduated.
I would sum this up with one of the greatest opportunities I've ever had in my life.
We set out on a mission to get 2 up-and-coming Valorant casters ready to make their live casting debut at the Collegiate Esports Commissioner Cup, the biggest collegiate LAN of the year. And we only had 2 months to do so. We assembled a team of the industry's finest to give them the support and training needed. When the moment finally came, they were live for over 3 hours, skillfully applying everything they had learned. They crushed it.
I'm just grateful for the tools to be the best caster I can be. I'm gonna continue to perfect this craft to make you all proud.
Who knows, maybe in a couple of years, MsAshRocks and Camilla Panda are gonna teach us a lot of things.
Thank you, Xbox. We appreciate you so much, and thank you for making this a reality.